Slow Gods is the newly released novel by Claire North and her attempt at writing space opera. Could this be a contender for Best Book of the Year? Stick around to find out. Slow Gods is the galaxy-spanning tale of one man's impossible life charted against the fate of humanity amongst the stars. A powerfully imaginative space opera from multi-award-winning author Claire North. My name is Mawakana, and I am a very poor copy of myself. In telling my story, there are certain things I should perhaps lie about. I should make myself a hero, pretend I was not used by strangers and gods, did not leave people behind. Here is one out there in the deep space. In the pilot's chair, I died, and then I was reborn. I became something not quite human, something that could speak to the infinite dark, and I vowed to become the scourge of the world that wronged me. This is the story of the supernova event that burned planets and felled civilizations. This is also the story of the many lives I've lived since I died for the first time. Are you listening? That is the book description straight from the publisher, and it sounds very interesting indeed. Let me start off by saying that I really enjoyed this book and that I thought it was a fantastic science fiction space opera. This novel was epic in scope and replete with meaningful character moments, and it also had an eerily reflective look at the challenges and state of our own present-day society. North manages to write a novel packed full of intriguing science fiction concepts without bogging down the reader with a feeling of doing too much with one story. The futuristic concepts never take the spotlight from the character-driven plot. This is a novel about death and life, love, and individual meaning in a vast and uncaring universe. There's a lot of setup and there are a lot of concepts to go over for this novel. So let me just start out with kind of a brief overview of what the story is, and then after that I'll kind of expand further into some of the things I mentioned in the overview and go further into detail on the concepts that are within this novel. So the story follows Mawakana, or Ma for short, who is a disregarded citizen of the oppressive shrine polity of worlds, and when Ma is used as a throwaway pilot or an arc space mission, he comes back replaced as something else. Essentially, Ma died and was reborn from the darkness of arc space, a darkness that gives him unique abilities and everlasting life. With this rebirth, he is able to travel through arc space without the normal consequences on organic life, and so he becomes a valued arc space pilot. And then a machine entity known as the Slow arrives, and it announces to all the nearby planets that a binary star is about to go supernova and will destroy all the planets within range. And thus begins Ma's tale as he becomes a pivotal member of the evacuation effort. So the first concept to go over here, I mentioned that Ma was a citizen of the Shrine Polity of Worlds. So within this book, humanity has spread out through the galaxy. They inhabit multiple worlds, multiple planets, multiple solar systems. And there are several different forms of government in this story. One of them is called the Shrine, which is kind of an ultra-capitalistic. They consume all resources. They have no regard for the members of their community and populations. Everybody is valued by their individual merit and how much resources and wealth they have claimed for themselves. So the more wealth a person has, the more power they have, the more shine they have. And it's a very oppressive society on those who haven't really done well for themselves. And so there are like some labor camps and things like that. There's a lot of oppressed citizens that have kind of tried to speak out, and they get they get beat down, they get taken away. And Ma ends up getting kind of dragged away during a protest, even though he's not actually a member of the protest. He's just trying to pass through, and he gets dragged away and thrown into this ship that they used for traveling through arc space, which is the next concept that we go over. So arc space is kind of Claire North's version of faster than light travel, wormhole travel, that kind of thing. The ships kind of go into this arc space, which is a dark alternate version of the universe, and then they come back through into normal space at their destination much quicker than just normal traveling through space. The problem is arc space makes its pilots go crazy. They can go insane. Very strange things can happen. The ships can return from arc space with people missing or people violently killed, and just all these crazy things that happen in the darkness of this arc space. So Ma is used as an arc space pilot, and he comes back as something not quite himself, something from the darkness, and becomes immune to these effects of the darkness. So that gives him a lot of value to really any society that wants to travel through arc space without the harmful effects. So we also have governments that are, they're about democracy and all that. They value all citizens. We have governments that don't use arc space travel at all because it's too dangerous. They just use slow travel through space. And there's also a polity, a group of beings that are machine entities, and they've kind of formed their own society. And this entity, the slow, is kind of the foremost among all these machine intelligence. And the slow it just kind of shows up every now and then, and it'll make a proclamation about something. And what it is doing is it's predicting the future, but it's using mathematics and logic and its experiences of the universe to make these predictions that usually turn out to be extremely accurate predictions. And this into the slow is kind of seen as a god by some, because it kind of has godlike predictive powers and things, and it's very mysterious. Nobody can really knows where it's from or where it's gone or why it does what it does. Even the other machine entities are kind of in awe of the slow. And the machine entities, they provide help to people throughout the novel, to Ma. They kind of show up and kind of guide Ma here and there, and just kind of help him do what he needs to do to kind of stave off the darkness that has kind of enveloped him. So we have all these kind of really interesting concepts coming together into one epic space opera novel. And this novel has an impressive display of philosophy within it. It has philosophy of government, philosophy of life and death. Is Ma alive? Is he dead? What's going on with him? And the philosophy and meaning of love in a chaotic universe. So Ma does kind of have a romance in this. It's not a typical romance, but it's there. And all this is told through the point of view of Ma as his character develops throughout the story. And I will say there's more to this novel than just the entity, the slow, and the supernova going off. So that's only really kind of half the book. And the second half is kind of much more to the story. I won't get into that. I won't get into any spoilers here. But let me just say that this was a great read for sure. It's sure to be on many people's lists for best novel of the year. And it has so many interesting and fantastic science fiction concepts that I kind of want to go through them one at a time. I'm not going to describe them. I'm just going to mention all these in a list. So let me just go through this list one by one and kind of give you a taste of all that's involved in this novel and everything that's packed into this epic space opera. So the sci-fi concepts that this novel has is starting with, we have a hive mind consensus society. We have faster than light travel through arc space. We have organic spaceships. We have machine intelligence. We have machine societies. We have sentient machine spaceships. We have a binary star collapse. We have multiple planet-spanning societies or polities. We have orbital habitats. There are immortal and or extremely long-lived individuals and entities. There are godlike entities. There are genetic enhancements, body augmentation, cryogenics, your normal standard space travel. We have spaceship pilot submersion into their spaceship where they become kind of one in feeling with their ship. There are aliens mentioned. There is a kind of a space war going on with advanced weaponry. There's instantaneous communication, and there is a dystopian aspect to some societies. So we have this long list of concepts in this novel, and it, looking at that list, it kind of seems like, well, this would be way too much to fit into one standalone novel. But it's really not. Some of these are just kind of in the background and briefly mentioned. But I think I mentioned before at the beginning of this video, these never take the place of the main plot line, the main story. The story stays focused on the character of Ma and his relationship with the universe, his relationship with other people, other entities, his relationship with himself and how he feels, the meaning he gets in life, and really just his growth as a character through the plot. This is a very well written and thoughtful science fiction novel. It has plenty to keep you interested, and with all of this taken together, I'm going to give this novel a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And it is one of my top novels of the year. It's definitely going to be one that stays in my mind for a long time, and it's a definite recommended read for sure. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the review here. I would love to talk more about this novel and all the concepts and philosophy it involves, but I don't want to go into any spoilers. And to talk any more about it, I think would really start getting into spoilers. And I think, the less you know, the better this book is going to be going in for you. It has an interesting start to the novel. I kind of thought it was satire at first, but I don't think it really is. There are some moments that some people may find difficult to read and maybe a little of an annoyance. So every different society in this book has a different set of pronouns, which I understand some people may find to be an annoyance. I kind of did at first, but then there is an interlude in this story where Claire it's almost like she's addressing the reader directly, why these pronouns are in here and why it really doesn't matter at all. What people call themselves or say or any of that. And I think it added another interesting layer to this story overall. So let me know in the comments if you plan to read this story. Have you read any other Claire North novels? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you next time.